All right, joining us for further discussion on this is Financial Derivatives Company Limited Analyst Favour Ogunniranye. Favour, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Big deal here. What's the impact of what the central bank is trying to do here? What do you think?
Well, if you look at Nigeria's population, the population is about 200 million, and then you also see that about 60% of this population are aged like 25 years or 30 and below, which shows that we're a youthful population. And then a further, segregation also shows that about 40% of the youths are unemployed. And this is really because the formal jobs available can't cater to about 600,000 graduates that the tertiary institutions produce every year. So, this initiative by the CBN is a welcome development because, it really just means more employment to, cater to address the unemployment within the youth. And then it also helps to unlock the entrepreneurship potential amongst these youths because, if you look at, we've been able to do a lot in terms of, if you look at the fashion industry, if you look at tech, you look at all other sectors, which is different from the usual formal stuff going on. And then, so this just helps to drive innovation and creativity. So, to start a business, finance is one of the major things that are needed. But then it's also beyond that as well because you need an enabling environment for these businesses to thrive. And so that I'm talking about infrastructure, policies, regulations. So, for example, if you look at the Twitter ban that happened months ago, Twitter is one of the go-to marketing tools that these small, medium businesses actually need. So, really, coming up with such a regulation wasn't in favor of these businesses. So, it's really beyond, providing money for them. It's also putting structures in place for these businesses to thrive so that in the long run they can expand, they can scale up, and they can also provide more jobs as well.
Fantastic. You mentioned fashion and the creative industry. The central bank also has a creative industry fund as well. Access to finance, can you speak to the importance of that for SMEs?
Okay, so the CBN is providing about 5 million to individuals and small companies and 25 million to partnerships and corporate bodies with 5% interest rate payable over a 5-year period. And it's an affordable loan because finance is part of the cost of doing business, and high finance cost means higher cost of doing business for these people, and also means it also reduces the financial strength of these businesses as well. So it limits their capacity to, or their flexibility to scale up to, meet their short-term obligations, not just to the banks, but to other parties involved, the suppliers and all of that. So affordable loans just gives them the opportunity to use these funds to, drive the business and also pay these finance costs, and at the same time have revenue to put back into the business to do other things as well.
Great stuff. So that's entrepreneurship. On the education side, CBN Governor Gordon Emefiele, he's made it a point that entrepreneurship training should be part of what these schools are. I think this scheme is also in collaboration with Polytechnics and Universities. What do you think of the curriculums on the public and private side for education institutions in Nigeria? You think they need to be revamped?
There is an existing gap between theory and practice, and we've seen that most times these curriculums, the content of the curriculums are outdated, or they're not in line with the industry practice, and you see a lot of youth or a lot of people putting in a lot of money, a lot of funds to take up some personal development course, skill acquisition, and you see a lot of companies also putting a lot of money in terms of trainings and all, which just shows that it's beyond what this curriculum is providing. And it also kind of shows the difference between a public school and a private school, because some private schools have seen that and they've gone beyond to get themselves up to the international standard, and just allowing people up and parents to get more value for their money. And the reason why they can do this is because they have more funds. And so I wouldn't say the curriculum is equipped for for what we are seeing in industry practice right now.
All right, you talked about funds. So this is the CBN is the monetary side. On the fiscal side, the federal government, how would you describe funding for education in Nigeria today?
Educational funding is poor. presently, because education accounts for about 5 to 7% of the total budget, and then according to the United Nations, the recommendation is 27% of the annual budget to education. So this just shows the nation's commitment to education, and because of this lack of commitment, we're seeing the effects in terms of the teacher strikes going on and the poor learning environments we see, especially in public schools. So what can happen is, if the National Universities Commission to set up a standard where about a minimum allocation to education of about 10 to 20%, which can help, in terms of funding as well. And also the government should be held accountable for this education expenditure, because, every money or fund that is being allocated to education should actually go to the intended destination. That way we can see the desired outcome that we all want.
Fantastic. I'm not sure how much time we have. Qualified teachers, very quickly. 30 seconds. Do we have enough of them? In 30 seconds, Favour.
I guess there is a stereotype really which is influencing the quality of teachers that we have, and aside from the lack of funding. So all of these play out in terms of the quality of teachers available here in Nigeria.
Favour Ogunniranye, analyst with Financial Derivatives Company Limited. Thank you for joining us to talk about the new Central Bank of Nigeria's 500 million naira youth entrepreneurship scheme. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.